The sky was cloudy that morning, the kind of gray that made the world look quiet and sad. 8-year-old Lily sat in the back seat of her parents' old car, holding her German shepherd, Rex. He was big and strong once, but now he lay weak and tired, his fur thin around the neck, his eyes heavy. Lily had wrapped a small blue blanket around him, the one she used to cover him with when they played sleepover on the living room floor. She held him close, whispering, "It's okay, boy. I'm here." Her parents, Mark and Emily, didn't speak much during the drive. The sound of the car engine filled the silence between them. Mark kept his eyes on the road, and Emily turned her face to the window, quietly wiping away tears. It was the hardest thing they had ever done. Rex had been with them since before Lily was born. He was family, not just a pet. When they reached the small-town veterinary clinic, Lily didn't want to open the car door. She knew what this visit meant. Her father gently said, "Sweetheart, it's time. We'll all be with him, okay?" But Lily only nodded and pressed her cheek against Rex's fur. He let out a soft sigh as if he understood everything. The nurse came out with a kind smile. She helped them bring Rex inside on a stretcher, though Lily insisted on walking beside him, her small hand resting on his paw. Inside, the smell of medicine and the faint sound of other animals filled the air. The walls were covered with pictures of happy dogs and cats who had recovered from illnesses. Lily looked at them and whispered, "Maybe Rex can get better too." Dr. Martin, a tall man with gentle eyes and silver hair, met them at the door. He had treated Rex since he was a puppy. "Morning, Lily," he said softly. "Hey there, Rex." He bent down and stroked the dog's head. "He's been a good boy for a long time." Lily looked up at him with hopeful eyes. "Can you make him better, Doctor?" "He's trying to be strong." Dr. Martin hesitated for a moment before speaking. "We've tried everything, sweetheart. His body is very tired. Sometimes, love is the hardest part of letting go." Lily's lip trembled and her eyes filled with tears. She didn't fully understand death, but she knew it meant goodbye. Her father placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "You can say anything you want to him, Lily. He'll hear you." The family was led into a small, quiet room with soft lighting. There was a blanket on the floor where Rex could rest. Lily knelt beside him, brushing her fingers through his fur. Memories began to flood her mind. How Rex had chased her around the garden, guarded her when she learned to ride a bike, and barked at thunder whenever she got scared. He had always been her hero, her shadow, her friend. "Do you remember, Rex?" she whispered. "How you used to bring me my shoes when I was late for school? You always knew which ones I wanted." Rex's eyes blinked slowly and his tail gave a tiny wag. It was weak, but it was enough to make Lily smile through her tears. Dr. Martin prepared the equipment quietly. He explained what would happen, speaking gently to the parents. But Lily could hear only her own heartbeat and the sound of Rex's breathing. She looked into his eyes and said, "I love you, Rex. You can sleep if you're tired. I'll always be your girl." Rex's chest rose and fell slowly. For a moment, the room was silent except for Lily's voice. The vet took a step forward, holding the injection. But then something unexpected happened. Rex lifted his head slightly and pressed his nose against Lily's face. He licked away her tears. Emily gasped softly. "Did you see that?" she whispered. Dr. Martin stopped moving. It had been days since Rex had shown any sign of energy. The vet lowered the syringe and said, "Let's wait a little longer. He's responding." Lily hugged him tightly, her small arms around his neck. "See, Daddy? He knows me. He's still here." Mark nodded, fighting back tears. "He knows, sweetheart. He knows." Minutes passed, but they felt like hours. Lily kept talking softly, telling Rex stories about all the things they would do together in dreams. She told him she would draw him a new picture when she got home, one with both of them running in the park again. "You'll be wearing your red collar and I'll be holding the leash," she said. Rex blinked and let out a sound. Not a bark, not a whine, but something deep, like a sigh of peace. The vet knelt down and checked his pulse. "It's faint," he said, "but it's there." Lily smiled a little, hope returning to her voice. "He's fighting, isn't he?" Dr. Martin nodded slowly. "Yes, he's fighting." The vet looked at the parents. "Maybe we give him a bit of time." "Just to see." Emily nodded, tears streaming. Mark agreed. Lily didn't let go of Rex, afraid that if she did, he might fall asleep forever. The nurse brought some water and a towel. Lily dipped her fingers in the bowl and touched them to Rex's lips. To everyone's surprise, he licked the drops of water. The vet looked at the monitor again, puzzled. "That's not common," he said softly. Not at this stage. For the next few minutes, the room changed. The heavy sadness turned into quiet wonder. Even the air seemed lighter. Rex rested his head on Lily's lap, his eyes open and calm. The girl stroked his ears, whispering, "It's okay, you're safe. I'm here." Outside, the rain began to fall lightly on the clinic windows. The soft tapping sound mixed with the slow breathing of the old dog. Dr. Martin stood watching, unable to explain what he was seeing. He had seen hundreds of pets go through this process, but something about this moment felt different. He looked at Lily and said, "You must love him very much." She nodded quickly. "He's my best friend in the world." The vet smiled faintly. "Sometimes love gives us more strength than medicine ever can." Lily didn't understand all his words, but she felt their meaning. She leaned forward and kissed Rex's head one more time. The dog's breathing grew steady, as if he was drawing comfort from her touch. Hours later, when the family finally left the clinic to let Rex rest, Dr. Martin stood by the window watching them go. The image of the little girl hugging her dog stayed with him. He had seen something that day he couldn't explain, a kind of quiet magic that came from love so pure it reached into the heart of a dying animal and gave it one more spark of life. In the car, Lily rested her head on Rex again. He was asleep, his chest rising softly, still alive. She smiled and whispered, "Good boy, Rex. I knew you weren't ready to leave me yet." The clouds outside began to part and sunlight broke through in thin golden rays. The car drove away slowly, leaving the clinic behind carrying a small girl, her faithful dog, and a new hope that maybe, just maybe, love was stronger than anyone believed. The next morning came slowly, with soft light coming through Lily's bedroom window. She had fallen asleep beside Rex on the floor, her head resting near his paw. The gentle rhythm of his breathing was the only sound in the room. It was weak but steady. For Lily, that was enough. She woke up and smiled. "Good morning, buddy," she whispered, brushing her fingers over his fur. Rex opened one eye and moved his tail a little. That small wag made her heart jump. Downstairs, Mark and Emily were already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with worried faces. They had spoken to Dr. Martin the night before. He said Rex's sudden movement might have been a short burst of energy before his body gave up. "Sometimes that happens," he'd said gently. But deep down, even he wasn't sure anymore. Lily came down the stairs holding Rex's favorite red collar in her hands. "Can we take him to the vet again today?" she asked. Her voice was full of hope. "He's breathing better now. Maybe the doctor can help him more." Emily looked at her husband. "What do you think?" she asked softly. Mark sighed and nodded. "All right, we'll take him. But remember, sweetheart, he's still very sick." "I know," Lily said, "but he looked at me this morning." "He's trying." They carefully lifted Rex into the car again, wrapping him in the blue blanket. This time the mood felt different. There was still sadness, but also a strange feeling of hope. The rain had stopped and sunlight was spreading through the sky. When they reached the clinic, the nurse was surprised to see them. "You're back already?" she asked kindly. "How's our brave boy doing?" Lily smiled. "He wagged his tail today." Dr. Martin came out of his office, his glasses slipping down his nose. "Well, that's something," he said with a small smile. "Let's take a look at him." Inside the same quiet room, Lily placed Rex gently on the blanket. The vet knelt beside him, checking his pulse and listening to his heart. His eyebrows lifted slightly. "It's stronger," he said, almost to himself. Lily's eyes widened. "See, I told you." Dr. Martin nodded, still listening carefully. "It's not much, but yes, he's fighting." He looked at the parents. "Sometimes when an animal feels loved, it helps their body stay calm and fight longer. Maybe your daughter's presence is doing more than you think." Lily sat on the floor again beside Rex. She started to hum a soft tune, the same song she used to sing when she was little and scared of storms. Rex's eyes slowly blinked, his ears moving slightly at the familiar sound. Dr. Martin decided to run some tests to check if any small treatment might help. He told the nurse to bring saline and some mild medication to support Rex's body. He didn't want to promise anything, but he also didn't want to give up. As the IV drip started, Rex lay quietly. His breathing evened out. The vet noticed a small but steady improvement in his heart rate. He looked at Lily, who hadn't moved from her spot. She was holding Rex's paw in both of her hands, whispering stories. "Remember the time you chased that butterfly, Rex? You ran into the pond and I had to pull you out." She giggled through her tears. Even the nurse smiled. He must really love her, she said softly. Hours passed and the clinic became quieter. Most of the other patients had gone home. The afternoon sun filled the room with a golden light. Dr. Martin came back with some results. There's still a small chance, he said carefully. His kidneys are weak but not gone yet. I'll try one more round of fluids and something to help with pain. Mark placed his hand on the vet's shoulder. We trust you, Doc. Thank you for not giving up. Dr. Martin shook his head. It's not me who hasn't given up. It's him and her. He nodded toward Lily, who was still whispering to her dog. Later, Dr. Martin told Lily to go get some rest, but she refused. I promised him I'd stay, she said firmly. He doesn't like being alone. So they brought her a small chair. She sat beside Rex and kept humming softly. As the clock ticked, the vet checked the monitor again. The numbers had gone up slightly. He blinked twice and leaned closer. This can't be right, he murmured. Emily looked up. What happened? His oxygen level. It's improving, Dr. Martin said. This kind of change doesn't happen at this stage. Lily's eyes sparkled. See, I told you he's strong. For the first time in days, Dr. Martin smiled fully. You might be right, young lady. He's a fighter. As evening fell, the room filled with a quiet peace. The orange glow of sunset came through the window, touching Rex's fur with warm light. Lily leaned her head against him and whispered, You're doing great, boy. You just rest now. I'll be right here. Dr. Martin stood silently at the door watching. He remembered the hundreds of families he had seen in this same room. The tears, the heartbreaks, the goodbyes. But this felt different. There was something about this little girl's love that seemed to give life where there should have been none. At one point, Rex's breathing became shallow again, and Emily gasped. Dr. Martin quickly knelt beside him, checking his pulse. Come on, buddy, he said softly. Don't give up now. Lily, holding her tears, pressed her forehead against Rex's. Please, Rex, just one more night. Please stay. Then slowly the rhythm returned. His breathing evened out again. The vet looked at the machine, then at the family. He's holding on, he said quietly. He's still holding on. By the time it was dark, the nurse dimmed the lights. The family stayed in the room. Dr. Martin offered to let Rex stay overnight for observation. He needs rest, he said, and maybe your girl should stay with him a while longer. Emily hugged Lily gently. We'll stay as long as they let us, she promised. Rex slept peacefully that night, his head resting on Lily's small lap. She didn't move. She just sat there, brushing his fur with her fingers, whispering, You're my hero, Rex. You always protect me. Now it's my turn to protect you. The nurse peeked in quietly at midnight. She saw Lily asleep in the chair, Rex's paw resting over her arm as if he was guarding her even in his weakness. She smiled and whispered to the vet, That's the most beautiful thing I've seen all week. Dr. Martin nodded, unable to find the right words. Maybe tomorrow will tell us if love can really heal, he said softly. When morning light finally came again, the sound of birds filled the air outside the clinic. Dr. Martin entered the room, expecting the worst, but what he saw made him stop in surprise. Rex was sitting up, slowly licking Lily's face while she laughed sleepily. The vet blinked in disbelief. You've got to be kidding me, he whispered. Mark and Emily rushed to the doorway, their eyes wide. Rex's tail was moving, not weakly but with strength. He even tried to stand. The vet quickly supported him with one hand, checking his heart. Unbelievable, he muttered. His heartbeat is stronger than yesterday. Lily beamed with joy, hugging Rex tightly. You did it, boy. You did it. Tears filled everyone's eyes. Dr. Martin looked at his nurse and shook his head, smiling. I've worked in this field for 30 years, he said quietly. But this is something I'll never forget. Outside, the morning sun poured through the windows, bright and golden. It lit up the small room where a little girl's faith had brought hope back to life. And as Rex leaned against Lily, tail thumping gently, everyone in that room knew they had just witnessed something rare. The miracle of love, refusing to let go. The morning sun streamed into the small room at the clinic, casting a golden glow over everything. Lily opened her eyes slowly, feeling the warmth on her face. For a moment she forgot where she was. Then she looked down. Rex was lying beside her, his head resting on her lap. He was breathing softly, not struggling, just calm. It took her a few seconds to realize what she was seeing. Mom! Dad! She shouted. He's still alive. He's breathing better. Emily rushed into the room first, followed by Mark. When they saw Rex sitting up halfway, blinking at them with those familiar brown eyes, both of them froze. Emily covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes again. But this time, they weren't tears of sadness. Dr. Martin came in next, holding his clipboard, expecting to see the usual stillness of a final morning. But when he stepped inside, he stopped in shock. "Good heavens," he whispered. "He's not only awake, he's alert." Rex turned his head slowly and looked at the doctor. His tail moved faintly. The sound of that small thump against the blanket was the most beautiful sound anyone in that room had ever heard. Lily hugged him, crying and laughing at the same time. "You're my brave boy, Rex, you did it." The vet quickly checked Rex's heartbeat. His expression softened into disbelief. "His pulse is stronger. His breathing is better. This is extraordinary," Mark asked. "Is he really okay?" Dr. Martin nodded slowly, still watching the dog with amazement. "I don't know how or why, but he's improving. I gave him the medication to keep him comfortable, but this kind of turnaround doesn't happen often." Emily knelt beside her daughter. "You see, sweetheart? He heard you. Maybe he wanted one more hug before leaving and it gave him the strength to stay." Lily smiled through her tears. "I told you he wasn't ready to go." The vet suggested running some more tests. As they waited, Lily continued to talk softly to Rex. She told him stories about home, how the garden looked, how his favorite red ball was still waiting by the porch, how she missed seeing him chase the mailman's bicycle every morning. Each word seemed to bring a spark back to Rex's tired eyes. When Dr. Martin returned, his voice carried a mix of confusion and excitement. "His organs are stabilizing," he said. "He's responding to the fluids. It's almost as if his body decided to fight again overnight." Lily tilted her head. "Because I told him to," she said simply. The adults laughed softly, but there was something about her innocent words that touched everyone's heart. By afternoon, Rex was strong enough to lift his head and drink a few sips of water. The nurse gently stroked his fur and whispered, "You're a miracle, old boy." Dr. Martin wrote down new instructions, deciding to continue treatment. "Let's give him another 24 hours of care. If he keeps improving, he might go home soon." Lily's face lit up like sunshine. "Home, you mean?" "He might come home. We'll see," the vet said with a small smile. "But he's got a fighting chance now." That evening, Lily and her parents stayed at the clinic again. Rex rested quietly beside Lily's chair. The vet gave him a small meal, soft food mixed with broth, and to everyone's surprise, Rex ate a few bites. It wasn't much, but after days of refusing food, it was a sign of life. Lily clapped her hands quietly. "Good boy. That's my Rex." Dr. Martin stood by the door watching them. He thought of all the times he had seen families lose their pets, all the times he had told them there's nothing more we can do. But this time, something had been different. The girl's love seemed to pull the dog back from the edge. As night fell, the lights in the clinic dimmed again. The nurse said goodnight and locked up, leaving the small family alone with their brave companion. Lily sat on the floor beside Rex, resting her hand on his chest to feel his heartbeat. "Remember," she whispered, "when I was scared of the thunder and you slept beside my bed all night? You never left me once. I won't leave you either." Rex opened one eye, looked at her, and made a soft sound. Not a bark, but something that told her he understood. Around midnight, Dr. Martin checked in one last time. He found Lily asleep beside Rex again, her head on his shoulder. The old dog was still breathing steadily. The vet smiled and whispered to himself, "This girl, she's his medicine." By morning, something incredible had happened again. Rex stood up, not fully strong, but standing. His legs wobbled, but he stayed upright. The sound of his claws tapping against the tile floor made Emily look up instantly. "Mark," she said, her voice trembling. "Look." Mark turned around, eyes wide. "He's walking," he said quietly, almost not believing his own words. Lily woke up to the sound and gasped. "Rex, you're walking." The dog took 2 slow steps and stopped in front of her. He lowered his head and gently licked her face as if to say thank you. Lily hugged him tight, crying again, but this time from joy. Dr. Martin walked in and froze for the 3rd time in 2 days. He checked Rex quickly. The heartbeat was steady. The breathing was deep and even. His body temperature was normal. "This is impossible," the vet murmured. "He was hours away from death 2 days ago." Emily wiped her tears. So what do we do now? The vet smiled. We celebrate. Then we keep caring for him. Slowly, carefully. Let's see how far he can go. Lily's eyes shone like sunlight on water. I'll help, she said proudly. I'll take care of him every day. That afternoon, the vet allowed Rex to walk outside into the small grassy area behind the clinic. Lily walked beside him, her hand resting on his back. The air was cool and fresh, filled with the smell of wildflowers. Rex took deep breaths as if he was smelling the world again. Dr. Martin stood by the doorway, shaking his head with a gentle smile. I've seen medicine work miracles, he said softly, but this one came from the heart. Lily knelt beside Rex and whispered, You're my miracle boy. Rex leaned against her, tail wagging softly. The world around them was quiet except for the wind rustling through the leaves. For the first time in many weeks, Lily felt peace. She didn't know what the next day would bring. But she knew one thing for sure. Love had given Rex a reason to live again. That night, as the family prepared to leave, Dr. Martin handed Lily a small card with the clinic's number. You call me if you need anything, he said warmly. But something tells me you'll be just fine. Lily smiled and hugged him. Thank you, doctor. You helped him too. As they drove home, Rex lay in the back seat with his head in Lily's lap again. The stars began to appear in the sky, shining softly through the car window. Mark looked in the mirror and said, I think someone up there was watching over us. Emily nodded, holding her husband's hand. Maybe love really does have power, she whispered. Lily looked down at Rex, who was peacefully sleeping now, and whispered, I told you, you're not going anywhere without me. The car moved down the quiet road, carrying with it a story that would stay in the hearts of everyone who had witnessed it. A story of faith, a little girl's love, and a German shepherd who refused to give up. The next morning was bright and calm, with the sound of birds filling the air outside the family's house. Lily woke up before sunrise. She tiptoed to the living room, where Rex was lying on a soft blanket near the fireplace. His chest moved slowly but strongly. He opened his eyes the moment she knelt beside him, as if waiting for her. Good morning, hero, Lily whispered, her voice full of warmth. She stroked his fur gently and he wagged his tail, a soft thump echoing against the floor. Emily walked in holding 2 cups of tea, smiling at the sight of them. He's looking better every hour, she said, setting 1 cup on the table. Dr. Martin called this morning. He still can't believe it. Mark came down the stairs a few minutes later, stretching his arms. You know, I think we might have witnessed something special, he said. That vet has probably seen everything, but this was new even for him. Lily turned to her father, her small face glowing with pride. I told you, Daddy. Rex just needed a little love. After breakfast, the family decided to take Rex to the backyard for a short walk. They wanted to see how strong he really was. The air outside was fresh and full of the smell of wet grass. Lily walked beside Rex, holding his red leash loosely. He moved slowly at first, his steps unsure, but with each minute his confidence grew. Rex stopped near his favorite spot, the old oak tree where he used to nap on summer days. He sniffed the ground and looked up at the sky, taking in the sunshine. For a moment he looked just like he used to, proud, strong, and full of life. Lily laughed and ran a few steps ahead. Come on, Rex, race me. To everyone's surprise, the old dog started trotting after her, his tail wagging faster. He couldn't run like before, but he moved with purpose. Emily covered her mouth, watching in disbelief. He's running again, she whispered, her voice breaking. Rex stopped near Lily and gently nudged her hand with his nose. She bent down and hugged him tight. You did it, buddy. You're amazing. Later that afternoon, the family went back to the clinic for Rex's checkup. Dr. Martin greeted them at the door, already smiling as he saw Rex walking beside Lily. Now this is a sight I didn't expect, he said with a light laugh. He looks completely different. Inside, the vet ran several tests again, checking his heart, temperature, and movement. Each result came back better than the last. Dr. Martin leaned back in his chair, shaking his head in disbelief. His recovery isn't just physical, he said slowly. Something inside him woke up again. I've seen animals heal before, but this feels like something more. Lily was sitting beside Rex, her small hand resting on his back. He heard me, she said softly. He knew I didn't want to say goodbye. Dr. Martin smiled. Maybe that was exactly what he needed to hear. As they talked, another vet technician entered the room. She had been working at the clinic for 10 years and had seen her share of heartbreak. But when she saw Rex sitting upright beside the little girl, she stopped mid-step. "That's the same dog from 2 days ago?" she asked in surprise. Dr. Martin nodded proudly. "The very same. He's rewriting the rules today." News about Rex's recovery began to spread quietly around town. A few of the clinic's regular clients heard the story and shared it online. People started calling it the miracle hug, because everything had changed after that moment when the little girl hugged her dog before he was supposed to be put down. Back at home, neighbors came by to see Rex. Mrs. Peterson from next door brought him homemade dog biscuits and said, "I told my friends at church about him." They all said this story gave them hope. Mark chuckled. "He's becoming a celebrity now." Lily giggled and said, "He deserves it. He's the best dog in the world." That evening, as the sun set behind the trees, the family sat together on the porch. The orange and pink sky stretched across the horizon, and a soft breeze blew through the grass. Rex lay at Lily's feet, his head resting on her shoes. Mark turned to Emily. "You know, I was so afraid that day in the clinic," he said quietly. "But seeing this, it reminds me that miracles don't always come from science. Sometimes they come from love," Emily nodded. Dr. Martin said something similar, that he's never seen medicine work without heart. I guess Lily's heart did what the medicine couldn't. Lily leaned down and kissed Rex's head. "I just didn't want him to feel alone," she said in her soft voice. Rex's eyes closed peacefully as if he understood every word. That night, Lily drew a picture of Rex standing strong again, wearing his red collar, his tail high. She colored the sky bright blue and wrote at the top in her careful handwriting, "My best friend who came back." She placed it beside her bed so Rex could see it when he lay down next to her blanket. The next day, they returned to the clinic one last time for a final checkup. Dr. Martin smiled as he flipped through the charts. "His heart rate is perfect. His lungs are clear. Whatever happened, he's back with us." He looked at Lily seriously and said, "You know, you taught me something important, young lady. Sometimes a little love and faith can do more than all the tools in this building." Lily smiled shyly. "I just talked to him. That's all," Dr. Martin nodded. And that was enough. Before leaving, the nurse took a picture of Lily and Rex beside the clinic sign. "For our wall of hope," she said cheerfully. "People need to see stories like this." On the way home, Lily couldn't stop smiling. She rolled down the car window and let the wind blow through her hair. Rex sat in the back seat, his head sticking out slightly, ears flapping in the breeze. It was something he hadn't done in months. Emily looked back and laughed. "He's enjoying the ride again?" Mark smiled. "Feels like we got a second chance, too." That night, when they got home, Lily spread a small blanket for Rex beside her bed. She whispered, "You can sleep here tonight just like before." He curled up quietly, letting out a soft sigh of contentment. As she drifted off to sleep, she heard him breathing gently beside her. It was the most comforting sound in the world. Outside, the stars twinkled in the dark sky, silent witnesses to a story of love, faith, and a second chance. Somewhere far away, Dr. Martin sat in his quiet office looking at Rex's file one last time. He smiled and said to himself, "Sometimes science takes a back seat to the human heart." The next morning, when he arrived at work, he hung the picture of Lily and Rex on the wall. Underneath it, he wrote a small note. "Never underestimate the power of love." Back at home, Lily and Rex played together again in the yard. She threw a soft ball, and though Rex couldn't run far, he tried his best. Lily laughed, clapping her hands. "You're getting faster," she said. And as Rex wagged his tail proudly, the warm sunlight fell across them both. A little girl and her loyal friend, proof that love could heal even the deepest wounds. A few weeks passed, and life in the small town slowly returned to normal. But for Lily and her family, everything felt different now. Every morning when the sun came up, Rex would walk to Lily's room, gently nudge her blanket, and wait for her to wake up. His fur had grown thicker again, his eyes looked bright. And though he was still slower than before, there was strength in every step he took. One bright morning, Lily ran to the kitchen, her hair messy from sleep. "Mom, Dad, Rex just barked at the mailman again," she said with a laugh. Emily and Mark looked at each other and smiled. That familiar bark had once been a sound they took for granted, but now it filled their hearts with warmth and gratitude. Emily knelt beside Rex, patting his back. "You're really back, aren't you, old boy?" Rex wagged his tail and rested his head against her hand as if to say yes. That afternoon, they decided to visit Dr. Martin to show him how well Rex was doing. Lily prepared a small thank you card with a drawing of Rex wearing a superhero cape. On the front, she wrote in big letters, "Thank you for helping my best friend." When they arrived at the clinic, the staff came out from behind the counter all smiling. "There's our miracle dog," the nurse said cheerfully. Rex barked softly in reply, his tail moving happily. Dr. Martin walked out of his office with his usual calm smile. But when he saw Rex walking confidently, he stopped and blinked in disbelief again. "I'll never get used to seeing this," he said, laughing softly. "You look fantastic, my friend." Lily handed him the card shyly. "This is for you, doctor." He opened it and smiled warmly. "You know, I think I should frame this," he said. "It'll remind me that hope can surprise us when we least expect it." As they talked, a family sitting in the waiting area listened quietly. They had brought their own sick dog, a golden retriever that looked weak and tired. The little boy sitting with them stared at Lily and Rex. "Mom," he whispered, "that's the dog from the story online." The woman smiled softly. "Yes, I think it is." Dr. Martin noticed them and gently introduced them to Lily. "This is Lily, and this is Rex. They taught all of us a lesson about never giving up." Lily bent down beside the other dog and petted its head softly. "Don't worry," she said kindly. "Sometimes they just need to know you believe in them. I told Rex I'd never leave him, and he came back to me." The boy smiled, his eyes full of hope. "I'll tell my dog that too." Dr. Martin watched quietly, feeling his heart swell with emotion. He thought about how something as simple as love could spread strength to others. "You've done more than save your dog, Lily," he said. "You've given people faith again." That night, back home, Lily sat on the porch with Rex. The stars were shining above, and the cool night breeze made the wind chimes ring softly. Rex lay beside her, his head on her lap, eyes half closed. Lily stroked his fur and said, "You know, Rex, people are talking about you everywhere. You're famous now." Rex lifted his head slightly, giving her a look that almost seemed amused. She laughed and said, "Don't worry, I'll make sure they know you're just my silly old best friend." From that day on, Rex's recovery became a story that people in the town never forgot. The local newspaper wrote an article titled, "The Hug That Saved a Life." It told the story of the little girl who refused to give up on her dog, and how her love brought him back from the edge of death. The photo of Lily hugging Rex in the clinic became a symbol of hope. It hung on the clinic's wall of love for years. Even people from nearby towns came to visit Dr. Martin's clinic after reading the story. Some came with tears in their eyes, telling the vet how the story reminded them of pets they had lost or were trying to save. The vet always pointed to the photo and said, "That little girl taught me more about healing than any book ever did." Months passed, and Rex continued to grow stronger. He couldn't run as fast as before, but he still played fetch with Lily in the garden. Every afternoon, they would walk down the old country lane side by side. Sometimes the neighbors would wave and call out, "There go the miracle team." Lily would laugh and wave back proudly. One day, during one of their walks, Lily stopped near the riverbank. She threw a small stick into the water and Rex slowly stepped in, paddling carefully to fetch it. It reminded her of the days when he was young and full of energy. She clapped and shouted, "Good boy! You still got it!" Rex barked joyfully, carrying the stick back to her. Emily watched from the distance, her heart full. "That dog really came back for her," she whispered to Mark. Mark nodded. "Maybe for all of us," he said softly. "He reminded us what love really means." One evening, months after Rex's recovery, Dr. Martin visited the family. He had been invited to dinner as a thank you. As they sat together, Lily told him how Rex had started barking at the mailman again and how he always sat by her when she did homework. Dr. Martin laughed warmly. "I'm glad to see he's keeping his old habits," he said. "That's how you know they're truly back to normal." Before leaving, he looked at Lily seriously and said, "You know, not many people get to witness a miracle in their lifetime." "You did, and you were part of it." Lily smiled shyly. "I think everyone can make a miracle, Doctor. You just have to love enough," he nodded. "You might be right." After he left, Lily went to her room and opened her old sketchbook. On one page, she drew a picture of Rex with wings standing proudly beside her. Under it, she wrote, "Love can heal anything. Years later, when Lily grew older, people in the town still remembered her and Rex. The story was shared over and over again. Parents told it to their children. Teachers used it as an example in class, and Dr. Martin would still show the picture to new pet owners who came to his clinic, afraid of losing hope. But for Lily, it was never about being famous or special. It was simply about love, the kind that doesn't give up even when everything seems lost. She often said, "When I hugged Rex that day, I didn't think I was doing something big. I just wanted him to know I loved him no matter what." Rex lived for several more happy years after that. Every season, from the bright summers to the quiet winters, he stayed by Lily's side, walking, playing, or just lying quietly near her feet. Their bond never faded. One autumn afternoon, as leaves turned golden and fell across the backyard, Lily sat with Rex under the same oak tree where they used to play. She rested her hand on his fur, feeling the gentle rhythm of his breathing. The sunlight filtered through the branches, painting golden spots on both of them. She smiled softly and whispered, "You gave me everything. Rex, thank you for coming back." The wind blew gently, carrying her words away, as if sending them somewhere higher. From that day onward, every time Lily saw a dog in the park, she smiled. Because she knew, somewhere inside every pet, every friendship, and every moment of love, there was a bit of the same miracle that had once saved her best friend. And in Dr. Martin's clinic, the picture of Lily hugging Rex still hung on the wall with a small note beneath it.